Since the question asks us to find how much time it will take to fill the bathtub, we are looking for a rate. Let's refer to the total rate of water in and out as the net flow of water. The net flow of water will be the sum of the rates of inflow of water less the rate of the outflow of water. First, we'll need these individual rates in terms of bathtubs per seconds before we can find the net flow. So we'll set up the equation for the net flow once we actually find the individual rates first. Let's start with the rate of the cold water. There are going to be 3 rates that we have to find in total before we can define or find the net flow. The first is going to be the rate of the cold water, then we have the rate of the hot water, and then we have the rate of draining or the outflow. So we'll start with the the cold and then the hot, and then we'll get into the draining. So starting with the rate of cold water, let's go ahead and give that a variable name so we can refer to it. We'll call that rate sub C for rate of cold. Now, this represents the rate of inflow of cold water because we're adding cold water to the hot tub or the tub. We're told that it's added at a rate of 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Not 30, 40. And we need to go ahead and convert this completely to seconds because we can't have a mix of minutes and seconds. And it would be easier to convert everything to seconds since we don't have to deal with messy decimals or fractions converting the other way. So let's go ahead and set up a rate. Remember, we're looking for the rate sub C, which would be in terms of bathtubs per seconds. So we can fill 1 bathtub per 3 minutes and 40 seconds, but we're going to go ahead and convert that completely to seconds. So 3 times 60 for 60 seconds per minute, plus 40 seconds left over, and this would be the total amount of seconds that we have. So simplifying this, we can actually get a nice fraction or a rate of 1 bathtub per 220 seconds. Now this would be the rate at which we can fill up a bathtub, 1 bathtub per 120 seconds with cold water. So now we're interested in the rate of the hot water. So let's call that rate sub H, and we're going to do a similar thing that we did before. From the question, we're actually told that the rate that we can fill 1 hot tub with or 1 bathtub with hot water would be 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So to set up a rate of bathtubs per second, we're going to go ahead, wrote rat back here, rate. We're going to go back and find the rate sub H, and we're going to set it up a similar way. So 1 bathtub, and we're going to convert everything to seconds so that it's easier for us to deal with in terms of 1 unit. So for our hot water, we have 5 minutes, so 5 times 60 to convert that to seconds, plus an extra 30 seconds. Multiplying this out, we get 1 bathtub per 330 seconds. Okay, so now we actually have the inflow. Both of these represent the inflow of water, right? How much water we're adding to with cold and then with hot. So our next rate that we have to find, the last rate, would be the rate of draining or the outflow, how fast it takes the bathtub to drain. So let's go ahead and just scroll down a tad bit so we have some room, and we'll find our rate of outflow or draining. So let's call that rate sub D. This will be the rate at which we drain the bathtub. The rate at which we drain the bathtub is the outflow of water, and similar to before, we're given that it takes 11 minutes. And since everything else is in seconds, we're going to go ahead and convert that as well when we set up our rate. So our rate sub D is equal to 1 bathtub per 11 minutes times 60 for 60 seconds to convert that to seconds. And simplifying this, we end up with 1 bathtub per 660 seconds. That's how long it would take to drain the bathtub. So we have these 3 rates, the 2 inflow rates and the 1 outflow. And let's just go ahead and note that this would be our inflow, and this is our only outflow. So remember that we're after how many minutes will it take Jacob to fill the bathtub with both hot and cold water running simultaneously if the drain is open and draining at a constant pace. So remember we talked about representing that as a net flow, the inflow minus the outflow. So let's go ahead and let's set up the equation for the net flow and see if we can figure out what that's going to be. So just sliding down here for a little bit of room, our net flow will equal the inflow, all of the inflow, minus the outflow. Now the inflow are both the rate of the cold water plus the rate of the hot water, since that's the water that's being added to the bathtub, minus our only outflow is from the drain, so the rate sub D. Now we have these numbers already, so we can actually just plug right in. So let's scroll up and find our rate sub C and our rate sub H. So rate of the cold water is 1 over 120, or 1 over 220. Then we have the hot water is 1 over 330. So scrolling down, we have 1 over 220 plus 1 over 330 minus the rate at which we're draining is 1 over 660. So scrolling down a little bit, this is going to represent our net flow, which is actually what the question is asking us for. So we just need to simplify this to get an actual number for it. And remember, all of these are in bathtubs per seconds. So simplifying this, we could find a common denominator, which is 660. So we would have to multiply 220 by 3 in order to get 660. So we end up with a 3 over 660. Plus we have 330, we have to multiply that by 2, so 2 over 2, so plus 2, minus 1, and all of that would be over 660, finding a common denominator. Now simplifying this a little bit, we have 5 minus 1, so 4 over 660. And we just have to simplify that. They both have a common factor of 4, so we end up with a 1 over 165. Now remember, the units on this are 1 bathtub per 165 seconds. So the question asks us the amount of time it's going to take to drain one bathtub in how many seconds, essentially. So we have this ratio set up. 1 over 65 is not going to be our answer because we're actually looking for an answer in time. And we need a time not just in seconds, but in minutes and seconds. So since we have that the net flow of water is 1 bathtub per 165 seconds, it means that it'll take 165 seconds to fill the 1 bathtub. Since the answer needs to be in terms of minutes, we'll go ahead and convert 165 seconds to minutes. So scrolling down a little bit just so that we have some room, converting 165 seconds to minutes, 165 seconds will equal 165 divided by 60 minutes. And simplifying this, we end up with 2 and 45 over 60 minutes. We're not going to simplify this fraction because that means that there's 45 seconds in addition to the 2 minutes. So really we have 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So that actually should be our final answer. Now we just have to scroll back up to our answer choices to try to find that. So 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Scroll back up. That's actually one of our answers, so 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So that's great. That would be our answer choice, would be choice B.